What's up, y'all? Just got home for a walk with my dog. Still hot out here in October in Miami. Craziness. But I'm shooting this quick video to introduce an interview that I did with Johnathan Dane. He's the CEO of KlientBoost. It's a digital advertising agency based out of San Diego that is about to close $10 million in revenue this year, almost $1 million a month in MRR. They've only been open for 4 years, so I really wanted to sit down with Johnathan and pick his brain about the strategies he's been using to not only grow his company, but also on the agency side of things, their internal marketing, their sales, outbound sales, how they're hiring, how they're staffing, how their teams are organized. I really wanted to get into the nitty-gritty details about how he's scaling such a very complicated service that digital advertising is. I just want to warn you guys that the audio is not great. We threw this thing together last minute. Johnathan was flying. He had a layover here in Miami while he was going on vacation with his wife. I was able to grab him for an hour, so we threw together 2 cameras, some microphones. It's not great, it's legible. The video is also not great, but it's watchable. So you guys can either check it out on YouTube here, or you can listen to it on the podcast. If you guys listen to the podcast, please make sure to rate and subscribe and leave me a comment up there. It's brutally competitive out there in the podcasting world. I'm finding that I need reviews to get some visibility. So go ahead and help your boy out so I can get more people on the show and we can do more things like this. So as always, let's jump into the video. What's up, everyone? I'm here with Johnathan Dane, CEO of KlientBoost. He popped over into Miami and I had to have him come over for an interview. You guys know, this is actually the first interview that I've ever done with somebody on my channel. I'm very, very cautious about giving the platform that I've worked so hard to give to other people, but he's well deserving. Thank you. And we're going to talk more about that in this interview. Stay tuned. So as I said, guys, here with Johnathan Dane, CEO of KlientBoost. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And KlientBoost and how you guys got started.
So I'm half Danish, half American. My full name is Johnathan Dane Schuessler. I have been running KlientBoost for like 4.5 years, and we're right about 60 people, almost at 10 million MRR or ARR now, which is, MRR would be crazy, but not yet. So don't want to jinx it, but we're getting very close. That's what we do.
And how did KlientBoost start? It was just you were a consultant. How did it turn into what it is?
So I used to hustle a lot on Craigslist, and I would like sell jerseys, I would sell fitness stuff and all that kind of stuff, and I would be very good at my listings on Craigslist. That's kind of how like my marketing journey started. Got a job in-house as a customer service rep. The CEO there wanted me to take a look at this thing called Google AdWords, and I checked it out. I had no idea what the heck that all was about. I got a 2-day seminar paid for Brad Geddes. You know who that is?
Yep, I do.
So he was teaching in LA, went to go check that out. And then after learning more about like the inner workings of Google AdWords and understanding like the basics, I started putting my Craigslist listings of like Google AdWords services on Craigslist to see if anybody would call me. And people started calling me.
And how long ago was that?
This was probably like 7 years ago. Okay. Yeah. So before KlientBoost, it was called Paid Attention. Like that was the name of it.
Okay. So you've been doing this for more than 4.5 years.
Yeah, I had. So before KlientBoost, I had another agency called Disruptive Advertising out of Utah as well. Okay. They're about 130 people today.
Oh wow. So that was your agency.
Yeah. I was minority owner, and I knew it was temporary. We can talk about that too. But I was temporarily, not going to be there in Utah, leaving Southern California for that long. So, but yeah, I've been knowing about the PPC world for probably like 7 to 8 years right now.
So you left that agency as an owner. How did that leave? You don't have to.
No, it's fine.
I'm in a situation similar.
It was something where I was a senior in college. I was probably making like $15,000 a month, just doing client work, in class, which was awesome. And one of my clients was in-house at a bigger company, and he saw what I was doing on a small scale and asked, do you want to partner and do this bigger? Yeah. And I was like, I'm just, scrappy and creative, and I don't really have much like, business acumen at all. I just know how to like get some results pretty quickly. And he had the Adobe Omniture like enterprise background and connections, and so it was a perfect fit. Told him what my price was to go out there, and he met that price, and I was like shocked. I told him $20,000. That's what I want to make per month. He's like, let's do it. I'm like, okay, all right, we'll do it.
And it went too low.
I know, that was quick. But drove out there, checked it out, and we were, honest. My girlfriend at the time, now wife, and I were saying like, it is temporary. Like we want to start a family eventually. We're not LDS. We're not Mormons. So leaving our family in Southern California, unless like it's really crazy good, we're not going to be here for that long. And so 1.5 years in, we kind of like, I put my chips back on the table and said, hey, can you buy these back? He did, and then came back to Southern California. I actually wanted to start software instead of agency again, so that's a whole other side of it.
Just real quick while it's on my mind, something that as my career grows and as, you know, I have a girlfriend now, we got a dog, and
Yeah.
I don't have kids yet, but, you know, I realized that kind of the older that you get, the less time that you have. Like, you know, you used to grind it out 20, 12 hours a day when you're by yourself, and it didn't matter. How has having a family and 2 young kids, I mean, how has that impacted the business? How do you change your schedule? I mean, how does that work out?
So the main thing that comes to mind first is I give less shits about stuff.
Okay.
Like I care less about the small details and stuff like that that I don't care about. There was a point I went to entrepreneurs organization meeting once. I didn't join, but I was at a meeting and there was something phenomenal that one person said. She was like, "You'll never find anybody as good as what you do because it's your business. And if you did, why are they working for you?" And so she was saying, you know, find somebody who's as good at you at 70%, teach them 10 and be okay with 80. And then since then, luckily this was probably when my oldest son, who's only like 3 right now, was probably like a year and a half. So I've been able to delegate a lot more, which is just a natural progression, whether you have family or not. Yeah. So for me, I feel like I can go home earlier and go an entire Friday to Disneyland if I wanted to. That stuff is fun. So it hasn't gotten more strenuous as we've grown, and things have definitely gotten easier.
I found that too. It was you know, as a young entrepreneur, something that was worried me because I would work long hours, but you know, I have found that when your mind knows that you only have 4 hours to get a task done as opposed to a whole day, when you have a whole day, you're like, man, fuck it, I'll get to it when I get to it. But when you have, you're like, dude, I only have 2 hours of work today. You get it done, and you're focused a lot more, and you're able to prioritize the things that need to get done over again, like you said, the minutia bullshit.
We'll talk about a book that I think has been pretty crazy for me. It's called Deep Work, and it is like the point, like your productivity, you can just eradicate anything that's like stealing away your attention or fragmenting your attention, and therefore get a lot more done too. It's also just about working smart. I do sometimes feel like, man, if I was single and I didn't have a family, like not that I don't, I even told my wife this so she can see it, it's okay. But I was basically saying like, man, I get so much more stuff done, but I don't know if I truly would, because I might be like burning out pretty quickly, much faster. I don't know.
It's funny, when I look back at when I first started this, when I was like 24, 25, dude, I put on.
You're 52 now?
Something like that. I'm 30. I'm actually 33 tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. But when I look back at like the videos and the pictures, like, damn, dude, I was kind of fat.
Yeah.
Because it was that. I was eating like shit. I wasn't really taking care. I kept on telling myself, I got to grind it out. I got to grind it out. I got to grind it out. Yeah. But when I look back at what I was really getting done, it was insignificant things that now I look at it and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like I'll pay somebody today. You know what I'm saying? Like, 100%. Granted, now we have more of the luxury of the cash flow to do that. But even still, if I were to go back and look at one thing that I did wrong in my career was not delegating and paying other people to do stuff sooner.
I get mad at myself today, feeling like I could have gotten further along than I am now if I would have done that earlier. 100% agree.
So I had hit you up about a month ago to pick your brain on some stuff because I was maybe looking at it into getting into the Facebook ad services, but I decided not to because I run a lot of traffic for myself and my portfolio of companies, and I know firsthand how much work it is. I also know firsthand how important content is, right? One of the things that we discussed was how, you know, automation is basically taking over. You don't have to worry too much about the targeting stuff. Facebook's going to take care of a lot of that shit for you, especially if you have pre-built audiences. But what it really comes down to, a big variable, is content. And that was something that I couldn't figure out how to put into a client campaign because my expectations and standard for content are so high. Right. And maybe I overthink it sometimes. I don't know. It doesn't.
No, you don't, because I'm the first guest on your channel, so obviously.
There you go. But the question is that how do you hire and staff?
Yeah.
Can you kind of break us down how your team is? Because I found Facebook ads is an incredibly difficult service to offer and scale to where you guys are.
The companies out there that I see, like literally a company called Mute6 out of LA got acquired last month by iProspect. They are direct-to-consumer, e-commerce, Facebook only, basically focused. And all they do is like storytelling. All they do is creative stuff. So we're not there ourselves yet. We want to get there too. But to your point, like Facebook optimization work is being commoditized super quickly just by Facebook itself. And it's going to be the same thing with Google too. And Google obviously has less room for storytelling unless you're doing YouTube and display. But most of it's on Google search itself too. So a lot of responsive search ads, like where you just input and it'll figure out the combo of that. All that kind of stuff is happening too. So I think the storytellers, the people who are good at brand, the creative folk are going to be very, very smart and be ahead of the curve. Because that's one of the things where the promo.coms and the Animotos, and I don't know if you're aware, like they're the content libraries of video stuff. As soon as more companies start using that and they see that become the norm on Facebook, well, then the things that are like handmade and done with like storyboarding and actually great execution are going to be the clear winners from that. So we at KlientBoost don't have that today of doing any video stuff, but we do have anything from a design perspective we handle very, very well. And we just have a lot of different angles of like the creative as well to make sure that we have what we call like a war chest of ads to go and deploy, and then Facebook will tell us what works and what doesn't.
In regards to the teams and staff that you have, you guys work in teams, pod? I mean, do you have like dedicated consultants?
So we used to call it pods, and pods was like 2 account managers and 1 designer. So the designer would be helping those 2 account managers and their clients too. Now it's a little bit more of a spider web because it was just hard to facilitate which companies or which clients we working with which teams and stuff like that too. So we basically have enterprise and we have e-commerce teams, and then we also have what we call a mini program. So like we have a lot of inbound leads and not all of them are great quality for us. And so that's when they go, for those kind of teams too.
Gotcha. So let's unpack that, your teams, pods model a little bit more. I mean, so you said when you first got started, you were pods, right? And tell me like what that looked like. Like when you took on your first couple of clients, like how did you know who to hire? Were you hiring specialists? Were you training internally? I kind of want to understand how like your progression of internal ops in terms of your staff has went from starting to, again, like almost $1 million a month in revenue is a massive jump, right? I kind of want to understand kind of the staffing, hiring, resourcing, kind of like thought process behind that.
So we had internally like a goal of every account manager, and that's the same person doing the work and interfacing with the client too. We didn't have anybody behind the scenes doing it. They were going to be managing at least $30,000 of monthly recurring revenue, not ad spend, but like actually what the client's paying us. With our own productivity things that we're doing and also just increases in our own pricing, we're up to like almost $45,000 on average now, which is great. But this is also where like a designer, and it all comes down to expectation setting really with the client to make sure that we don't overload anybody or allow clients to come to us with requests as well too. So as we've grown bigger and bigger, we found that different types of packaging and how we were selling things like individually on platforms, and if you wanted CRO on top of that, it is separate too. So some clients don't have that right now, so it limits the involvement needed for a designer on top of that.
So you have kind of like a base package. And I do remember seeing one of your proposals a while back because I tried to send some work away. And one of the proposals I saw, and maybe I can't say this, but it seemed very standardized, right? It seemed like, which I love. I'm a big fan of process. I'm a big fan of cutting down on the bullshit work. And I feel like if you do enough marketing ahead of time and you convince them that they want to work with you throughout the sales process, the marketing process, and when it comes to sales, it's just a matter of this price right.
Exactly. Our testimonials are super templatized in a sense, but it's like it holds the recipes that are going to work for that client.
Right.
And we do a screen share with them too to figure out like what is it you're suffering from, what are your goals, and how are we going to achieve them.
During the pitch process. Okay, cool.
And so that's where it's like way more custom, and also where we're getting them to buy in. But because all of our deals are basically inbound, they're halfway sold already when they come through. Makes it easier for us too. But anything that we're going from like outbound or events, and like when we try to grow other acquisition channels, which is one of our big goals now, then it changes because like you have to like almost ask for permission, to talk to that person, and you want to get access to their account. Right. Good luck doing that.
So when you say other acquisition channels, you mean like YouTube, AdWords?
YouTube, AdWords, like our own PPC, outbound efforts, cold email.
Gotcha.
Events.
Oh, you mean for marketing for yourself?
Yeah, for ourselves. Sorry. Okay, I know we're jumping around in a little bit.
No.
But those are things where the process needs to change too, and there's like more steps that we go through in the sales process when it's outbound versus when it's inbound.
Gotcha.
Because usually it's just like a one-time call, and then we get access, and then we do we share the screen, and it's done. And then with the outbound, it might be like 2 more steps, 2 more calls.
Yeah, it's understandable.
There's like NDAs needed and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, when I as I'm rebuilding Weber's, my agency, I've taken a lot of tickets from the internet marketing world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously with the Blueprint, I do a lot of that style of marketing, and it's there's so much to be learned from like the old school marketers, like the Frank Kerns of the world, and the Ryan Dices, and how they've done things, and applying that to B2B and really high ticket services too. Is that at big agencies, I used to work at Sapien Nitro. They would literally send 400-page proposals, and I get it because the contracts are $1 million, whatever. But when the leads are coming to you, when they already know who you are, they know what they do. You don't have to, like you said, you don't have to have those extra calls. So like, this is who we are. This is our team. They know that, right? What it comes down to is really, is this price going to match what I can spend, right? And it's a little bit different for pay too, because you can prove an ROI much easier as opposed to SEO, where I'm like, you got to believe this for 12 months, man.
Come on in.
But I've really tried to, the point is that I found that proposals take a lot of work, a lot of work. And it burns a lot of really my time or my lead biz dev person's time. Whereas instead, if I'm having we have two consults via Zoom. Again, I always have the camera on, so I make them put their camera on.
You're
going to look at me in the face. And I'm basically doing like very high ticket consulting on during those calls. The first one's a discovery call. The second one, I'll do some more research. I'll run a site crawl, and I'm basically pitching them my custom solutions while we're going through that. And then the proposal is a template. I don't touch the proposal.
100%.
I have a pricing template.
Do you put their logo in there at least?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. You might just like default text.
I just retype their name over actually.
Okay, nice.
Because I hate like getting a JPEG that has like a white background.
Yeah.
Fuck something about it.
That's when you don't have designers. You have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the ways that I found how to scale my time. Is by, it's much easier for me to talk than it is for me to type. It'll take me 8 hours to do a proposal. It'll take me 30 minutes to do a custom console. And when you know this stuff, it's second nature and your salespeople are trained. You know, it's so much easier to have a conversation.
100%.
You know, I'm like literally closing now via email and like text message. Like really high ticket clients.
That's awesome.
Like without having to send any sort of documented paperwork because we've been over it. And when they ask for a proposal, I send them an email with it. I'm like, here's the price. We've talked about it. You know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
And that could be a canned responsive Gmail if you wanted to.
And part of it too is like, you know what is how I sell them into it. It's like, well, look at this is high ticket consulting. A lot of the work is going to have to be done like after you pay me. Like you've already used 2 hours of my time. I could send you a bill for $1,000. Could take that as free consulting, or like I'm going to do the first 2 weeks of discovery, and then we're going to start to customize your plan, reduce the hours a lot of basically. But
that's the power of content. The way that you're able to do that, that's why it works so well.
It's the power of content. It's the power of brand. It's the power of trust. It's the power of reputation. I actually was listening to a podcast today where they were talking about, you know, personal brand kind of gets like a douchey kind of like connotation. But really what they were alluding it to was reputation. Like, you know, the older generation would call it reputation. We're calling it personal brand, you know, and it works, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm investing a lot of time. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, because I feel like someone of yourself, someone like Ross, anyone who's been successful in this business and has done it at a very high level and scale to what you have, have you, like, how much time and effort do you put into like kind of your personal brand, or is it just about the company?
Absolutely nothing. And one of the big reasons too is my end goal is to sell. And one of the main concerns from investors is what's called key man risk. So if you're the face of everything and you're doing all that kind of stuff, and of course, like you have to be. I'm still very much the face of KlientBoost, but I'm starting to get other people more famous internally too, and like make, you know, the percentage, my market share of fame within KlientBoost diminish over time. But that's not something I worry about at all, because I think too, like, as time goes on and everybody has a platform to come out with stuff that they want to say, or say that they're experts or gurus, the people who have built something, the people of things that they cannot fake, like employee count and stuff like that, that's what people are going to look at and be like, yeah, I'd want to work with that person because he's just quiet in the corner getting work done and like making people money. Those are the people that I respect a lot.
For sure. And, you know, I had some questions on here about KlientBoost marketing, because you guys do, it's very rare to see agencies. Like, it's funny, we all sell marketing services, but like the last people to invest in marketing or do anything for marketing services.
I think a lot of marketers suck at marketing.
It's crazy, right? You know, with the blueprint, over 600 agencies are in there. And like I'm constantly,
that's crazy.
Like, it's amazing. Best business model. We can talk about it later, but yeah, like I'm constantly helping them out, doing like site evaluations for them. We do live consulting calls, and I'll have their website up, and I'm like, yo, like you're trying to sell this service for $50,000 a year, and like you don't, like your website looks like you just like what like you know what I mean. But you guys have done a very conceited effort to create content. To the Inside KlientBoost videos are awesome. Like investing in video content and like consistently to podcasting. Like, I guess, when did that start? And if you're comfortable telling me how much you invest into it, like what your marketing team looks like.
Our marketing team is big compared to like last year. It was also me and a writer, or me and 2 writers, and I would be doing operations, sales, marketing, like wearing a lot of hats. Now we're about like 11 people doing different things, only for KlientBoost.
No client work.
No client work. And but a lot of it's also like left to be seen from an ROI perspective, because a lot of these things that are brand investments, like Inside KlientBoost, or the podcast, which is brand new, like we're not sure of it yet. But one thing that I've consistently done differently is like I look at everything as like a lemonade stand principle. This is what I call it. This is what I was on the video with Ross about this too. Think of like the internet as like one street, and there's 10 lemonade stands, and like you're one of them. The 9 other ones are your competitors. Like, are you making sure that like your, you know, people who are working for you have the best outfits, like the best, I wouldn't call them costumes, but I guess that's what they are. Do you have organic lemons? Do you have sugar-free options? Is your iced cubed or is it nugget shaped? Like, how good does your sign look? All those kind of things matter, because it's so quick for people to just like go down and like compare and see what works and what doesn't from the outside, even though they don't truly know. And so when every person that does marketing of a certain sort basically sells the same thing at the end of the day, the execution can be different. Many people who buy that have no idea about that. And so it is so important for you to invest in your brand. It is so important for you to care about design, the illustrations, and most importantly too, like the main principle that I work off with right now is like, what's everybody not doing right now? Do they have the inside blog? Like that's from Gary Vee that I stole that idea from. He basically said, you guys better start doing this. In like 5 years, when you look back at that journey, like it's just fun and cool to see. Like imagine if, I'm not saying I'm going to be Jeff Bezos, but that was an example used. Like imagine if Bezos did that from day one of Amazon. Like that'd be cool, you know? Yeah. And so now if we do get acquired or sold later on in the future, well, there's a whole thing showing our culture, all that kind of stuff. It just gives us a pretty unfair advantage.
Yeah, so, I liken it a lot. I actually posted a video the other day that we filmed. I've been doing a lot more of like the personal branding content because I mean, the way that I'm set up is a little bit different. I don't have that like figurehead company. I'm I'm actually somebody who likes to stay at home in underwear. I'm a huge introvert by nature, actually. You know, so this isn't about me, but point is that when it comes to like investing in marketing, again, people are like always looking for dollar in, dollar out, dollar in, right? And I tell them that like we've kind of been spoiled by the amount of metrics that we have in terms of like ROAS, ROI, all the different things that we can track. But really what we're at now, especially when you're selling, like you want someone to pay you $5,000 a month or more. They're not just going to see your shit and like be like, here's a check. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes a long time. You have to have a lot of touch points. You got to get in front of them a lot of times. And I kind of liken it to like, we're almost kind of going backwards now, like back to like people buy billboards and like they're basically just looking at just the top line.
Branding,
You know what I mean? So like, I think that people get sometimes a little bit too lost in the metrics. And, you know, my biggest advertising strategy over the last couple of years has been to spend money on ads with, like, I'm not even looking at it. I'm not even driving clicks to the website.
I think I saw one of your ads. It was just like, hey, I'm Ryan. I'm just here for you to see my ad. Like, look at my profile. I think that was like your CTA or something like that. I'm like, what is Ryan doing? You're like us direct marketers.
You know what I mean? Like and I do engage in a lot of direct marketing, but what's not?
I said this too, like earlier on, I was like, the true mark of somebody who knows their shit is like, what have they grown and what have they built, right? You have done that already. And from afar, this is like the first time we're meeting in person. I've watched like, I think a Moz Whiteboard Friday or something like that. Back in the day, I think that was my first time. I'm like, this guy kind of looks cool. He's got like a sleeve and shit. And like, and then I listened to you and I was like, he actually knows what he's talking about. And I didn't know like technical, you know, SEO or content, but that's how we built KlientBoost on, obviously. But I was just keeping it super, super simple. But so that was a lot of respect to you, and also just like fucking 600 agencies. That's insane that you have that on the blueprint. The biggest thing too is like there's nothing wrong with direct marketing at all. Like you want to be able to do that, and you have to prove that too. It's when you max that out, or you're saying, okay, what else can I do because I do have more money, and what can I do that other companies and agencies aren't doing? Then it becomes very easy and becomes even more unfair for you to be like increasing that size of the snowball that we're seeing ourselves too. So it's a lot of fun to be at that stage right now. Yeah, and especially too, I mean, I actually I hired Daniel actually behind the camera here. I hired him to help out with Facebook ads, traffic, and stuff like that, just because it's so time consuming. And he ended up being more of a video person for us because I'm at a point now where we've always known the impact of content, but like I fully now like there's a light bulb on. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I know how to take myself to where I want to be. And a lot of it is through this shit, which I don't enjoy doing at all. But I mean, I'm fucking with you because you're so introverted. But this is the price of entry now, in my opinion, for what I want to do, right? But the price of entry has always gone up, and it will continue to go up. Always gone up. And you know, people always use the term like gold rush. You know what I'm saying? And I look at history and like there's always going to be a gold rush. There's always going to be another gold rush, right? Like, I think people right now are kind of like betting on the wrong thing and thinking a lot of different, but what it really comes down to is content and promotion. Like that is the gold rush right now. Like what these algorithms across networks are looking for is who's going to create the most and who's going to create the best and who's going to get the most engagement. And that's what we're going to show. And this time right now is the time that you can still get in front of those algorithms because as you know, man, it's coming very soon. Well, I just saw a LinkedIn update the other day. Like it gives different point values depending on if it's a like, if it's a share, if it's a comment, and how deep that comment is versus just like saying cool. And like you can basically run experiments. So there's this one woman I also saw that just ran an experiment. All she asked was like, "Can you please like this?" and then she's going to see if she can get in front of like any third-party connections like later on. So it is that, and it's also true. Like people forget about this. if, again, the whole thing, think about like the internet as a street and everybody has lemonade stands and they're selling the same thing. How are you going to be differently judged if you're doing what the other people are doing the same way? Yeah. Like, why would they pick you? There's a reason why today, like, we have 500 inbound leads of clients per month that want to come work with us.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Again, a lot of them are not big enough, to do or afford different sizing businesses, but we're seeing that it works, and it's all content. We're just putting more gas.
I was going to say, where are the inbound leads coming from? Mainly from content?
All content,
all content?
Yeah.
Do you ask leads when they come in? How did you find us?
We track that.
You track that?
Yeah, we're marketers.
Good for you. And like, I'm curious what percentage, because I'm sure you get a lot of referrals at this point too.
We actually don't. So this is what's crazy. So there's the inbound engine that we have going on. That's how we built KlientBoost. And at some point, it's like, well, if you're not getting more traffic and therefore more leads, like you're gonna be at some point where like it's an equilibrium. What you lose and what you gain is the same. Doesn't matter. So we want to go out and find new channels, which is why we're doing outbound, which is the only PPC that we do now. And paid social is like our own remarketing. It's nothing fancy at all. It's like just you see the ads follow you around, obviously. Referrals. So this is something I've been trying to crack too, because it's something that I think we can very easily do, but we just haven't given much thought or effort to it. Is like, again, remove as much friction as you can from the person you're asking for help from. And so the idea would be like, hey, we have a NPS like survey trigger that gives us like a 9 or a 10 from a client, right? Like we send those out once a month. And if they're 9 or a 10, that means they're happy. That's when we go ask them. And the way that we're going to go, and we haven't done this yet. So this is like, you guys try this out. Let me know what happens. And I want your thoughts too. We basically say, hey, we can connect with you on LinkedIn and we can scrape your contact list. And before we do that, we tell them like, if we close anybody of your relationships, we're going to give you 10% every single month for as long as that client's with us. That's like how we want to make it like incentivized, right? But we're going to scrape the list. We're going to run them through like SpyFu, those domains, to make sure they're actually spending money, or they appear through the Facebook ads library and actually have some ads running right now. And then if they do, we'll send you back that list. That list might be like 50. And out of those 50, you might only know 5. God knows my connections. I have no idea who 99% of them are. I don't know. And then from those, like, are you comfortable reaching out to them? So we'll just write like a little pre-written message that you can just either LinkedIn message or email them. And then if there's an intro to be made and they want to talk with us, well, then we'll put them in our Salesforce. We'll make sure that you have a link to track their progress, and we'll let you know when they close. But like, we don't want to say like, hey, Ryan, do you have any people in your network that think they can use our services? You'd be like, yeah, but why would I? I'm such a busy guy. Like, why would I do that? Yeah. So we're trying to like make it as simple as possible.
So I have a buddy down here in mine. His name's Cotton Kramer. Shout out Cotton. SEO agency, and he's like a big reason for growing so fast. He had a ton of inbound traffic, so he was really good at ranking websites for like Miami SEO, blah, blah, blah. But what he would do is basically call up anyone who's gotten results from his client list and say, I know you're a business owner. Yeah. And he wasn't working with like enterprise clients at the time, you know what I mean? So it's a little bit easier for small business owners. And it's like, you're a business owner, I know you've got business owner friends. Like, if you refer me 3 people right now that are ready to get on the phone with me, I will discount half of it or whatever, how much off your next invoice.
So he was pretty aggressive about it.
He was very aggressive about it. I mean, when you look at it too, it's kind of like a CAC for a customer like that. If it's,
totally. It's such a low cost from a lifetime perspective.
It sucks doing free work. I think that's kind of like the pit of me. Is that I hate doing free work. But,
well, are you doing the work or are your employees doing the work?
So I'm in a very unique position right now. I just decided to part ways with From the Future. All on good terms. I just decided it was, I work good by myself.
Yeah, of course.
And also kind of wanting to get back to like very high ticket consulting. You know what it is, man. When I make $1, I want to make as much of that dollar as possible. Of course, so unless it's like a software company that's going to scale to like 100 million or 500 million bucks, right? But right now I have 2 people helping me out. I have a whole slew of offshore people that I just like train. So this is the beautiful thing about the blueprint is that I will hire people off Upwork, be like, here, I'm going to pay you the next week to go through this. Here's basically dummy like keyword research, psychology, like do these things. I just manage them all via Slack. So it's me right now. I do a lot of it. But kind of to your point before about inbound leads is that when it's a scary thing to leave that company because I was getting a paycheck, I was an equity owner, and the company's doing really well. But again, I just decided it was not to do.
Sounds similar to my story. Like we were doing
well in Utah. Sometimes it's just a feeling, But the thing that made it easy for me was the fact that every morning I wake up and there's appointments on my calendar for people that want to work with us.
That's amazing.
Same thing, content, YouTube, just long-term branding. And I always ask people too, and in terms of qualified leads, really qualified sales leads, the people that are qualified 100% of the time say exactly like what you said. Like, yeah, like I think I saw one of your videos, and then like I got retargeted with an ad, and then like I started reading some of your stuff, and they were like, damn, like
this guy knows some things.
And that's what happens. Is then they call you up, and it's not. I'm not pitching against other agencies. It's sole source.
You're isolated, and that's like I love that.
And when it comes down to it, again, it's just pricing.
Right.
So I mean, I actually wanted to ask you too more about your sales process. So,
Yeah.
like, when you guys are pitching, and like, well, first of all, how many people do you have in your sales team?
So we are 6 right now.
6 right now. Okay. Inside, all outside sales, inside sales. I mean,
2 outside and the rest inside.
Inside, or like outbound appointment setting inside.
Outbound, 2 of them are doing outbound appointment setting, and then right now, like, so I am like Fix It Felix from Wreck-It Ralph. You've seen that movie, or like Bob the Builder. My whole job today is test out new stuff, build the infrastructure, get the blueprint, and then ship it out to somebody and say, this is how you do it. And then I go out and do something else. So that's what I'm working on with outbound right now. So those 2 guys are facilitating deals for me to talk to, and then when we have enough volume, we're gonna make that an actual process.
That's exactly what I mean. I feel like that's what most people in our position's job would be.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not. I mean, you make more money than I do, but we're not quite at the companies do. But not quite at that executive level where you have like highly trained executives with you to handle this stuff.
Exactly.
So at this point, I still
have fun with it though. That's other.
No, of course,
and
that's the thing too, is that I feel like, at the core, I'm a marketer, but I'm also an operator at the core of what I am, and I like to have my finger on the pulse because I do feel like I have a lot of value to add in those things, and I'm sure it's the same with you, is
100%.
that there's other people underneath you, like you said, that are smart enough to do 90% of the things, but the 10% of things that make the business go the furthest still need to come from your head.
Dude, you just made me think of something. So, you know how like people can write phone numbers in their email signatures where it's like parentheses and then space and then 3 numbers and then a dash and then 4 numbers? Well, some people do like parentheses dash and then like it just doesn't look even or like well executed, and so like I obsess with those kind of things, and I'm like, this is not our email signature procedure, like you need to change this right now please. And so I'm like, I still see those kind of things. That's why I'm like, I'm such a control freak, but I also know that like I can go much faster and further with like delegating that, but I still, just like you, like love being that operator and still like care a lot about those details.
I think that's something that's just natural. Like being detail oriented is I'm the same way with spreadsheets. Dude. You give me an Excel sheet, I'm like, God, that's fine.
I saw some video of you once. Where, was it you where like you operate your entire agency through Google Sheets?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And I was like, fuck man, I spent a lot of Asana money right there. Like,
that's easy. Oh, dude, I mean, so look at this. Like with where you are with 60 plus people. It's not that sheets break; they just slow down. When you're at I like to keep my teams pretty small. And I keep them kind of segmented inside though too. Like the content team.
I completely. I feel like a lot of my focus lately has been a lot of like ego growth. Mm-hmm. Like it is cool to say that I have like 50 plus people on a team, but could we be a lot leaner? Yes. Yeah. Could we be more profitable? 100%.
I understand that, and look. I understand that 100%. I tend to go the opposite way, where I read this book. It's called
I'm envious of what you're doing right now.
Well, look, I've been through it. The agency that from the future, 40 people, all amazing people. Nick is an amazing dude, doing an amazing job in the company. But just internally, just who I am. Like I said, I like to make more money. Like you're running it to be sold though, right? I mean, you're running a software company, right? I mean, keep growing top line. Margin is, as long as you're paying the bills and everyone's getting paid and happy, you got money to go around. I see you guys doing cool stuff like Vegas, which is awesome, paying your company. As long as you pay for stuff, you're good. You know what I'm saying? And again, too, at the end of the day, your people are always going to want to work with you. As long as you can always replace that top line, you're good. I mean, you can run very expensive for a very long time. And like you said, people is also it's more than just delivery. It's a selling tool for you too. It's like you got 60 people. We got everything you need here.
For sure. Absolutely.
But again, after going through that with the agency, I just got to the point where, again, it's just who I am as a person. And I get exhausted being around.
You want to be in your snuggie. You want to be on this couch.
Dude, I want to be my dog. You know what I'm saying? I get up at 5 in the morning. I do 4 hours worth of work. I go to the gym, and by 10 o'clock, I'm like, I like the freedom of not having to be in an office because
that actually sounds unbelievably amazing.
And I with my other partner, his name's David Krebin. He's the guy who does all the sheet stuff. He is like the king of getting the most out of doing the least amount of work in a very intelligent way. Very intelligent way. SQL, Python, he automates pretty much everything he touches. Is we can do this faster.
I like that.
And having him as a partner too, it's just really pushed us down. So even growing this agency, I don't want to get past 10 clients. They're all going to pay me X amount. We're going to make X times 2 amount in the bottom line. I'm going to pay my director of operations a fat salary. Me and Dave are going to take a salary, and I'm not going to do shit but drive leads. And that's where I'm at now. Is I'm just saying, if I can market myself, then I have a WordPress plugin that it's for marketers. I have David's company too, which we're like relaunching. We're building those custom sheets for agencies specifically. I've got the blueprint. I've got this agency that are all in the marketing scope. It doesn't matter what company I'm attaching it to. I just need to get out there as much as possible and show as many people as possible that I know what I'm talking about, get them in my ecosystem, and then kind of push them into the right path. You know, the team will grow over time for sure. But like, I just know who I am as a person now, you know, and like going into an office every day and working with like 10, 15 people, it's an amazing experience. There's really like no feeling like being like, I made this for everyone. It's an amazing
It's really
feeling.
cool.
It's really amazing.
We bought like a commercial refrigerator that has like 3 glass doors, and then I filled it with like Fiji water and like some beers and ciders and all that different kind of stuff, and I was like, this is cool. Like no place has it, but like just those little small things, like you feel like you're spoiling your team, and that like the whole, it definitely is an ego thing too. When I get the Glassdoor reviews and I see that, and I'm like really definitely proud of it too. But at the end of the day, like I know like my end goal is like taking care of my family here, but also taking care of my family in Denmark. So I have some bigger plans for that. But if things got sold and I one day was doing consulting, like that would be a dream. Just like travel and like do whatever
you will though. You know what I mean? I mean, look you're pushing it past where I was at. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna get a much bigger reward at the end of when you're done with it. And once you're done with that, you'll write your own. I mean, you can already write your own tickets. You know what I'm saying? But like, for sure. You know, once you do that, you'll definitely get your own ticket. And it's an amazing feeling to build something. You know what I'm saying? That's especially in something that's not even tangible. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a product. It's what's in your head. And you made that it's almost $1 million a month of revenue. And providing consistency. We love working there. You know what I'm saying? I saw you guys building an office too.
I bought a building, which is crazy. So that was fun.
That's awesome. I'm super happy for you, dude.
Thank you.
It really is awesome. All right, cool. So I think I pretty much got through all my questions. I have a couple of like
I saw. I remember the ones you had at the bottom too.
Unless there's anything else that you want to.
Trying to think. Like,
do you want to talk about your product? You and Ross have a product.
Yeah, we could talk about that. And I came out with our own software too called Kite.
Kite? How do you spell that?
Like Kite, Kite is the actual domain. Kite like an actual flying a kite. Nice. We can talk about that if you want to. I'm going to talk about growth comment because it's more like your world. I don't want to encroach on that.
Oh, shit, dude.
All right, well, I'll just say it's
more than there's more than dude. This is something that like I don't think people fully understand too. Is that like
how much there is out there?
Dude, there's so much.
No, I know. I'm not a point of
there's
scarcity
so much
mindset
at all. And also too, it's like at the end of the day, like they're both great courses, and people are gonna buy what they want to buy. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to support you, Ross, and like I said, I like both of you a lot. It's not a problem. Cool. But I would like to talk about software because we're developing software too. So that is something that I'm assuming developed as a need internally. You built it for yourselves. And now you're taking this to market publicly. Yeah.
So Kite, we basically. So speaking of like the timing of stuff too, because I don't think like everything. Everybody says like things move so quickly in the space of where we operate. Sure, that's true, but like the fundamentals don't. Like they're still the same. So a lot of the things, if you get those right as an agency owner or any marketer in general, like you're going to be solid for a very long time. But because of the switches that we're seeing with Facebook being more of the automation factor, same thing with Google, we're like at some point like we need to switch to like a creative agency because again it's going to be commoditized what we're doing. Now the strategies and stuff like that, like how do you scale? How do you take what you're doing in Google that's ROI for a client and go to Pinterest, for example? Like that a software can't tell you. Like we can do that for you. So Kite was built only for this only purpose of like increasing our own productivity internally. So it's built on our own recipes and things like that too. Right now, it basically scans and audits a Google Ads account, and Facebook Ads is coming too soon too. And basically, you can put in your goal, whether it's a CPA goal, conversion volume goal, ROAS goal, and it's going to tell you and flag whatever is outside of those norms and say priority-wise, here's what you should change if you want to get to that goal faster. So eventually, it's going to be able to automate and do it for you. So kind of like we are the Uber drivers that are human-based today, and we want to become autonomous, at some point too. That's the goal of Kite right now.
And you're planning on taking that to consumer?
It is right now. We have about 40 customers on it right now.
Awesome.
And it's something where I'm trying to take off as many hats as I possibly can as fast as possible to start working on that. Because I think it's like software is something that I haven't done before, and that's really cool and interesting to me. So I want to be like that product marketer, type as well.
And it's just scales a lot easier.
It's really fun to see that obviously the dollar amounts per month are a lot lower.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can just see like in Slack when we have it connected, we can be like new customer. Like that's so cool. It's a lot of fun.
That's how the blueprint is. We have that, and you work really hard. And to see that,
it's weird when it's automated. Like you don't have to physically set like you're used to, right?
Send an invoice and come from down.
Exactly. That stuff is fun.
That's awesome, man. So a couple of quick rapid fire questions. Best favorite book?
So right now I'm working on reading Deep Work. I forgot the author, which is really shitty. I feel like I'm at like some award show and I gotta tell you what dress I'm wearing and the designer. But it's called Deep Work. Maybe Cal is the first name. But it's really talking about like your point of like waking up at 5, getting 4 hours of like uninterrupted work done, going to the gym, and it's freaking 10 a.m. Like, that's crazy. I need to be better at getting my calendar removed from a productivity standpoint because that's leading me closer to my goal of being more with my family, for example. So that's like, right now I'm like a quarter way in right now. I can already tell you, like it's really, really cool to see.
I have from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. blocked off my calendar for Deep Work. It's funny, I saw someone on Instagram like screenshot their calendar, like everything they had to do, and they were like super proud of that. And I was like, dude, that's not the goal.
Yeah, don't be busy with
I look at my calendar, and I'm literally like today, I had one call.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got paid. I also have a rule now for myself. If anytime that I'm on the phone with someone, I'm either getting paid directly, like you're paying my consultant for that, or I'm generating business. I will not get on a call for any, unless it's like a network call. So you know what I'm saying? That, but even that, I consider that a business.
Because you didn't even call me, you texted me, so that makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah, you're very efficient.
There you go. But yeah, that's an amazing book.
Yeah.
It changed a lot of a lot of these things, but just hearing it from really smart people.
The amount of like attention fragmentation and I forgot the words they're using, but it's like actually studies being backed up by this kind of stuff. Switching from task to task and how you have stuff from task 1 still in your mind when you're doing task 2, so you can't really, like the quality and the quantity aspect can't be there, but it can be there with the deep work aspect. So that's what I'm pumped about.
We're not computers. Podcasts, you listening to podcasts?
I'm going to put a shameless plug in for our own. So Boost Sauce is the one that we just started. The way that we're doing this differently, because we did some research and gotten a lot of feedback from people, is, there's a lot of fluff, there's a lot of like, what's your backstory, and like, it's cool to talk about it and it's friendly, but people listening don't care about our backstory. They care about like what valuable advice can I give them that they can use right now. So the whole point of Boost Sauce is it's built around 3 experts per episode on a certain topic, usually like 15 to 30 minutes per, like, I would say per segment within the episode. And then we basically have this like chicken sound that we tap when we're actually talking to them. Like every nugget that they drop is something that we're like tracking. And so the more nuggets we have on the actual episode, the better. So we have a crazy goal of literally being like the #1 podcast in the marketing category. So we're just being obsessed with getting that feedback, making it better as we go along. But we're like 6 episodes in right now.
Actually, a really good podcast that I just started listening to.
Is it ours?
I'm subscribed to it. I'm subscribed to Cross. I listen to Gary Vee's podcast a lot, actually. I really like his podcast. Like I said, he's I don't know, in the SEO industry, he gets dumped on, but like, he's an executive. He has an executive mindset.
Like the amount, so I saw him at Traffic and Conversion Summit a while back, and my wife and I were there. We were both watching him, and we're like, this guy's fucking crazy. Like, he rubbed me the wrong way to begin with, like he does with a lot of people. Like, this guy's ego is big. Literally went back to like episode 1 of his podcast and listened all the way through. There's a video on his YouTube channel. I'm in his office at Hudson Yards in New York because I won his like book challenge or something like that. So I'm like, the guy spits so much value. I have so much respect for him. Yeah, I agree. I like him a lot. But a podcast I've been listening to is Traffic and Funnels by these guys. Traffic, you've probably seen advertising all the time. I really like it because what they're doing is they're not like, they sell advertising courses, they sell advertising, blah, 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 but like their podcast is only about kind of the conversations that we've had. It's more of like, for like marketing executives type deal. It's really good. Cool.
And they do a good job of kind of their podcast is different than their YouTube, which is different than their, you know what I'm saying? They're like, if you want this information, you go to our podcast. So they made it specific for the platform. Yeah, it's really good. That's hard to do consistently. You gotta create a lot of content. But if you got a team and you got a system, then it's doing for sure. Last one, what's your biggest goal for 2020?
Actually, I had my own personal goal of getting an investor in next year. And we also For KlientBoost, yeah. It's going to be a combo of KlientBoost and Kite.
Okay.
And that would be really, really cool. I don't know what the presidential election will be, so I'm like, let's time it before that happens and see what happens. And then also,
looking to raise ballpark.
so I will probably be like selling 70 to 80% and keeping 20 to 30 and still running it. Depends on if we become the platform investment or if we are like the bolt-on to another private equity firm that's doing that right now. So of all the conversations we've had so far, it's been really interesting and good. And what we're focusing on right now is just growing our profit margin. So we've hired ahead a lot, and so we don't need to anymore. So that's something that we're going to be looking out for. And then our goal is to get a 1 million this year. I don't think it's going to happen. MRR. I said it right for once. I think we can get to 1.5 by the end of next year. So those are the things we're working on.
Word. Well, man, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think I said it before, but he came in. Him and his wife are flying to St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, yeah.
Laid over from LA. We're not too far from the airport. We popped over.
Yep.
Just to do this interview and meet in person for the first time, which was great to do. Where can people find you and follow you at?
KlientBoost.com with a K. I'm on Twitter, but I don't use it, so like connect with me on LinkedIn. Would be probably better and find me there.
Word. Awesome. All right, y'all. As always, appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a review on our podcast. I'm starting to try to build it up.
Like, actually do it. Like, people say that, like, actually do it because it allows you to be more famous, which is a good thing because you can get better, brighter people on your show. More value to you guys. So, like, literally, if you are lurking, like, do it for them.
I agree. You know, people DM me all the time on Instagram, a lot, especially now.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll ask me for advice, and I have literally like a saved message that says, if I respond to this, I need you to go through and comment and like on my last 10
Dude,
pictures.
I freaking like
anytime that it comes up,
no, it's so smart.
Is that, like, you can pay me with social equity. That's the thing, too. So
people intercom us, and they ask questions about a blog post. We're like, put that as a comment on the blog post. I'll get back to you. Thank you.
All right, y'all. That's it. I'm going to let him go. He's got to catch a flight. Peace.